Hello and welcome to today's episode. In today's episode, we will discuss about the economic role of government. In addition to this, we will also cover economic planning, significance of economic planning, agencies responsible for economic planning, that is, Planning Commission of India and National Development Council. I am Dr. Arshia Hussain, teaching in the Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. So, let us start this lecture with the economic role of government. The government plays a significant role in almost every country's economy. The government enacts laws, does welfare programs to help people and to ensure a smooth functioning of the economy. However, the role of the government, the nature and extent of control differ widely from one country to another, depending upon political philosophy, social attitudes, stage of economic development, and behavior of the private sector, and so on. The role of government is more in a socialist economy than in the capitalist economy. Economic roles of the government can be classified into the following categories. The first one is regulatory role. The first important economic role of the government is that it regulates legal and social framework. The government frames rules and regulations relating to business, conduct of the enterprise, and so on. The regulatory role of government includes, first one, regulating the conditions under which individuals would be allowed to enter certain lines of business or avail public facilities and scarce resources. Second one, regulating the code of conduct for business enterprises, such as regulating working conditions in factories, ensuring a limit on managerial remuneration, prevention of undesirable activities, and so on. The third one is regulating the accrual and disposal of business income, such as ceilings on dividends, income tax of business enterprises, and so on. The fourth one is regulating the relationship between various sectors of the economy in order to prevent conflict of interest or to protect legal rights or to prevent too much concentration of economic power in fewer hands. Fifth one is government also implement administrative controls and fiscal incentives in order to regulate the economy. For instance, the government frames industrial policy for regulating the entry and location of private enterprises. Then second one is promotional role. In a developing economy like India, the government also performs promotional functions such as building and strengthening infrastructural facilities like power, transportation, communications, financial resources, training institutions, and research facilities. The government also provides assistance to entrepreneurs in making best use of scarce resources, providing land at concessional price, concessional rates for power and water supply, facility of concessional rate of interest for the development of backward regions. Then the third role is entrepreneurial role. The government plays an entrepreneurial role by participating in business, through public ownership and management of industrial and commercial undertakings. It is because of this entrepreneurial role of the government that a strong public sector is emerged in developing country like India. Even in developed countries having capitalistic economy, the defense, production, public utilities, railways, airlines and strategic industries are often owned and controlled by the government. Several objectives have prompted the government to become an entrepreneur. For example, balanced regional development of the country, promotion of capital-intensive industries with long gestation periods to check private monopolies and exploitation of consumers. The other role is role of planning. In a mixed economy like India, the government has the responsibility of fulfilling the wants of public. The government has to achieve socio-economic objectives by using scarce resources of the country in the best possible way. For this, the government lays down natural priorities for optimum allocation of scarce resources through planning. Therefore, Planning Commission has been set up by the Government of India in the year 1950. The Planning Commission is entrusted with the powers of formulating, implementing and reviewing the national plans. The objective of 5-year plans is to achieve balanced regional development, rapid industrialization, generating employment, agricultural development and development of small-scale industries. In addition to this, the government is also responsible to maintain law and order, providing security, that is internal and external, and creating an economic and social environment by following a sound economic policy. Now we will discuss about economic planning. The concept of economic planning. Economic planning may be defined as a continuous process of taking decisions relating to a choice of alternative ways of utilizing the available resources for achieving particular goal during a specified time period in the future. The economic planning in a country is undertaken by a central authority, that is the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is entrusted with the powers of formulating, implementing and reviewing the national plan. Economic planning may consist of the following features. The first one is analysis of the present economic situation. Second one, determining policy objectives for future development goals of the country. Third one is developing of strategies for achieving the set of objectives. The nature of economic planning depends upon the type of economic system in which planning is carried out. However, economic planning under different economic systems is discussed as follows. First of all, we will see planning in a capitalist economy. Planning in a capitalist economy is democratic in nature. The participation of the state is limited to formulating the plans and adoption of indirect controls. The state can only issue guidelines and not directives. Market forces are left to decide their own course of action. Planning in capitalist economy has limited effectiveness due to the absence of policy instruments. Policy instruments are needed to ensure that overall and individual industry growth targets are achieved. Then we will see planning in a socialist economy. In a socialist economy, planning is autocratic in nature. The state lays down the policy, objectives and growth strategies. The state lays down detailed for different industries. Production units are largely controlled by the state and have the responsibility to follow the plan and to fulfill the targets. Now we will see planning in a mixed economy. Planning in a mixed economy is more difficult since both the sectors, that is private and public sectors, coexist. Planning has to be a judicious mix of the two types. Both direct and indirect controls have to be used. Planning has to be neither elementary nor too rigid. Now we will discuss significance of economic planning. Underdeveloped country like India, economic planning is very important due to several reasons. First one is optimum utilization of limited resources. In an underdeveloped economy, planning provides a rational basis, securing the optimum combination and utilization of limited resources. Second one is identifying deficiencies. Economic planning helps to identify those deficiencies in economy and the social structure which need the maximum attention for the economic growth. The third one is quantitative dimension. Planning helps in identifying critical issues of development and provides a quantitative dimension. Planning helps in mobilization of financial resources. It leads to a higher degree of capital formation which otherwise may not be achievable. The fourth point is institutional changes. Planning facilitates institutional changes by drawing attention to the social requirements of growth. The process of planning and the implementation of plans increase the scope for public participation and cooperation. The fifth one is higher investment. Planning facilitates a higher investment leading to a more rapid growth rate in future. Next point is interrelationship. Planning helps in determining interrelationship within the national economy. This is possible with the help of planning techniques and availability of more precise statistical data. It becomes possible to judge the impact of different policies and measures. Now we'll have a look at objectives of economic planning in India. The main objectives of economic planning in India are: the first one is increase in national income. The first objective of economic planning is to achieve a higher level of national income and per capita income. This can be achieved by increasing production to the maximum possible extent. Second one is increase in per capita income. Per capita income means the average annual income per person. Planning aims to increase the per capita income. The third one is full employment. Planning emphasizes in achieving full employment by providing employment to all job seekers and gradual transfer of people from low income jobs to high income jobs. The fourth one is reduction in inequalities of income and wealth. Planning aims in reducing inequalities of income and wealth by increasing the incomes of low income groups. Fifth one is reducing regional disparities. Planning aims at reducing regional disparities by setting up industries in backward areas. The other one is social justice. Economic planning aims to set up a socialist society based on equality and justice and free from exploitation. The next point is other objectives. Removal of poverty, modernization of the economy, maximizing the usage of resources by areas, achieving price competitiveness and price stability by lowering protection and reducing the gap between demand and supply of commodities. And factors have been other objectives of India's economic planning. In India, economic planning expresses its long-term objectives in the form of 5-year plans. The first 5-year plan was formulated in the year 1950, which expresses to achieve maximum production and full employment, the attainment of economic equality or social justice, which constitutes the accepted objectives of planning under present day conditions, are not really so many different ideas, but a series of related aims which the country must work for. None of these objectives can be pursued to the exclusion of others. A plan of development must place balanced emphasis on all of these. Thus, economic growth, employment generation, self-reliance and social justice are the main objectives of India's economic planning. Now we will see the agencies responsible for economic planning. The two major agencies which are responsible for economic planning in India are: first is the Planning Commission and second one is the National Development Council. First of all, we will discuss about Planning Commission of India. The National Planning Commission was set up in March 1950. The main functions of the Planning Commission are: first one, assessing material, capital and human resources of the country. Second one, investigating the possibilities of augmenting these resources in so far as they are considered insufficient for meeting the country's requirements. The third one is formulating a plan for the most effective and balanced utilization of the country's resources. The other one is the National Development Council. National Development Council plays a significant role in the formulation and review of the national plan. The members of National Development Council are Union Cabinet Ministers, Chief Ministers of State, Lieutenant Governors of Union Territories and the Planning Commission. The Secretary of the Planning Commission is also the Secretary of the NDC. Now, the main functions of National Development Council are: first one, to lay down the guidelines for the formulation of the national plan as well as for the assessment of resources for the plan. Second one is to implement the national plan as formulated by the Planning Commission and develop strategies for it. The third one is to analyze social and economic policy affecting the country's development. Fourth one is to periodically review the working of the plan and to recommend measures necessary for achieving the aims and targets set out in the national plan. Now, we will discuss about the importance of industrialization. Industrialization is the first and foremost requirement of rapid economic development of a country. Industrialization is important for the following reasons. The first reason is it helps in the development of industries. Second is helps in promoting agriculture, trade, transport, foreign trade, services and social sectors of the economy. The third one is helps in creating employment opportunities. The fourth one is helps to increase in national income, per capita income and standard of living of the population. Therefore, an industrial policy is required to establish a strong industrialization and to guide, regulate and control industrial development. Now, we will see industrial policy. In an economic system of the various important economic activities, industrial activity is crucial and is directly related to business. The term industrial policy refers to the government effort to encourage the development and growth of the manufacturing as well as other sectors of the economy. It is a comprehensive term covering all those principles, procedures and regulations which control the industrial undertakings of a country. The industrial policy specifies the respective roles of the public, private, joint and cooperative sectors, small, medium and large scale industries. It influences the location, size and technology of industrial undertakings. Thus, industrial policy shapes the pattern of industrialization in the country. Now, we will discuss about the objectives of industrial policy. The objectives of industrial policy are: first one, to accelerate industrial production and thereby achieving economic growth by optimum utilization of resources. Second one is to achieve balanced regional development by setting up industries in backward areas. The government provides various concessions for development of industries in backward areas. Third one is to make proper utilization of the domestic and foreign capital. Fourth one is to achieve coordination between small scale and large scale industries. Fifth one is to achieve cordial industrial relations. In India, since 1956, for about 2 decades, the industrial policy had recognized the importance of both private and public sectors. 17 industries listed in Schedule A of the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956 were made exclusive responsibility of the state. However, the public and private sectors were not totally independent of one another. In the year 1973, considerable concessions were given to private sector units and foreign multinationals. The actual liberalization process began during the 1980s. In this period, the limits of exemption from licensing were continuously raised. In order to encourage production, the government delicensed 28 broad categories of industries and 82 units bulk drugs and their formulations, and gave various concessions to companies falling under monopolies and restrictive trade practices Act, that is MRTP Act, and Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, which is known as FERA. Now, with a view to improving capacity utilization in industries, government allowed capacity re-endorsement. The scheme of broad banding of industries was introduced in the year 1984. Beside these liberalization measures, the government also announced various concessions in its industrial policy to promote the expansion of exports. New Industrial Policy 1991. On July 24, 1991, the Government of India announced major changes in the industrial policy. The salient features of the new industrial policy are: the first one is delicensing with certain exceptions. Second one is liberalization of foreign investment and technological participation. The third one is scrapping of the MRTP regulations pertaining to concentration of economic power. And the fourth one is redefining the role of the public sector. Now, we will have a look at the objectives of new industrial policy. The objectives of new industrial policy are: the first one is to bring improvement and efficiency in Indian industries. Second one is to achieve internal competitions. Third one is to bring awareness among Indian producers. The fourth one is to introduce liberalization for integrating Indian economy with the world economy. Fifth one is to remove restrictions of investment and foreign direct investment. The sixth one is to prepare industries to face international challenges through the process of globalization. Next is to improve the performance of public sector through professional management and autonomy. Next is the new economic policy intended to reduce the rate of inflation and to remove imbalances in payment. The other point is to accomplish economic stabilization and to convert the economic policies into a market economy by removing all kinds of unnecessary restrictions. Now, let's have a look at the major changes that was introduced in new industrial policy in detail. First of all, industrial licensing. Industrial licensing has been abolished irrespective of levels of investment for all industries except for a short list of industries related to security and strategic concerns, social reasons, hazardous chemicals, and overriding environmental reasons, and items of elitist consumption. Areas of security and strategic concerns will continue to be reserved for the public sector. In projects where imported capital goods are required, automatic clearance will be given in cases where foreign exchange availability is ensured through foreign equity, or if the CIF value of imported capital goods required is less than 25% of the total value of plant and equipment, up to a maximum value of rupees 2 crore. There will be no requirement of obtaining industrial approvals from the central government in locations other than cities of more than 1 million populations, except for industries subject to compulsory licensing. In respect of cities with population more than 1 million, industries other than those of a non-polluting nature such as electronics, computer software and printing will be located outside 25 kilometers of the periphery except in prior designated industrial areas. The exemption from licensing will apply to all substantial expansion of existing units. Thus, the new policy has gone a long way in freeing the Indian industry from the restraints of control. Now, next is foreign capital and technology. The new policy provides for automatic approval for technology agreements related to high priority industries within specific parameters. In order to invite foreign investment in high priority industries requiring large investments and advanced technology approval for direct foreign investment, up to 51% foreign equity in such industries will be provided. The new policy has also made the import of capital goods automatic, provided the foreign exchange requirement of such import is ensured through foreign equity. Next is public sector. The new policy has redefined the role of the public sector. Accordingly, the number of industries reserved for the public sector was reduced down to 8. This was further reduced to 6. These 6 industries are defense products, atomic energy, coal and lignite, mineral oils, railway, transport and minerals specified in the Schedule A to the Atomic Energy Order 1953. The new policy also proposes selective privatization of enterprises. Further, it is also proposed to close down unviable public enterprises and to bring the viable sick public sector units under the Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, which is known as BIFR, or a separate body that may be created on the lines of the BIFR to deal exclusively with sick public sector units. The new policy also emphasized that there would be a greater thrust on performance improvement and managements would be granted greater autonomy through Memorandum of Understanding, that is MOU, and would be held accountable. Next is MRTP Act. The Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969 has had a very adverse effect on competition and industrial growth. The new policy acknowledges that with the growth and complexity of industrial structure and the need for achieving economies of scale for higher productivity and competitive advantage in the international market, the interference of the government through the MRTP Act has to be restricted. It was further laid down that MRTP Act will be confined to prohibition of monopolistic, restrictive and other unfair trade practices which are detrimental to the public interest. Now, let's take a quick look at what we have discussed in today's lecture. We discussed the economic role of government, the concept of economic planning, its objectives and significance. The economic role of government is classified into regulatory role, promotional role, entrepreneurial role and the role of planning in the economy. Economic planning may be defined as a continuous process taking decisions relating to a choice of alternative ways of utilizing the available resources for achieving particular goal during a specified time period in the future. We also discussed the role of Planning Commission and National Development Council, industrial policy and new industrial policy. The term industrial policy refers to the government effort to encourage the development and growth of the manufacturing as well as other sectors of the economy. The new industrial policy of 1991 has introduced wide range of economic reforms in India. It includes industrial licensing, foreign investment, public sector policy and MRTP Act. So, that is all for today. Hope you have understood. We will meet in the next episode with a new topic of business environment. Till then, take care. Goodbye.